Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hometown Hustle, episode 12. Today we sat down with Nick Gates of Gates Furniture here in Grants Pass.
Yeah, man, what a cool episode. I can't wait for you guys to hear this one. What an awesome dude.
Dude, yeah. I mean, and the lineage, 70 years in this town of business operating.
75.
75. Damn.
Yeah. 75 years. Grandpa opened a store back in 46 and continuing a legacy, and they've been doing great business in this town for a long time, and you guys will see in this episode, it's for good reason because they have some great values and they, put that forth in their business, and it's just, and they care about this community, which is just awesome. So
yeah, it was great to highlight it, and hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to the Hometown Hustle, a podcast showcasing small business owners and leaders who are making an impact here in the Rogue Valley. Come join us as we go one-on-one with some of the most inspiring people that call Southern Oregon their home. Now, here's your hosts, Daniel Buffano and Michael O'Coin.
Nick Gates in the house.
Hey.
How you doing?
Your intro said the most inspiring people in the Rogue Valley.
Yeah.
And yet here I am. That's crazy.
Well, you got a family legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Sure. Well, we'll have to get my dad here sometime because he's great to chat with, and I've put him through plenty of embarrassing radio thing or Facebook thing or whatever. So he's hardened now. He can handle all this. Yeah. So maybe for a round two someday we'll get him here in the studio. We have to find another chair though.
No, we're working on that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. Yeah.
We have another mic. We have a whole nother setup. We just don't have the space in this room. So
there you go.
As Lawton said, it's a closet. It's not a closet. It's actually a real office, but it's just a little tight. So
yeah, don't tell that to the next agent that gets this office. That's a closet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll be gone before the next agent gets this. Well, I'll have to be gone because I'm not giving up this side of the office.
There you go.
We have like this whole row of offices our team does, which is kind of cool. So
perfect.
We're like back here in this corner, which is pretty rad. So thanks for being here.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I appreciate you hopping on and doing it. Like Michael said, your company has been around in Grants Pass since what, 1946?
Yeah, Grants Pass since 46. We actually opened our first store was opened in Medford in 1942. Wow. And it was my grandfather's uncle that started that store.
Oh wow.
We actually had a store in Medford and Ashland for a time, and it was all owned by the different uncles. It was all kind of, back in the 50s and 60s, driving to Medford to go shopping was not a thing. So they kind of spread out that way, and slowly those stores they got out of the biz. They weren't as passionate about it, didn't have people to take it over. And that store in Medford, I believe, closed probably before I was born, back like early 80s or something like that. Okay. So we've been doing this in the Valley since the early 40s, but as far as in Grants Pass, with my immediate family, since 46, yeah.
Yeah, and your grandpa started it after getting out of the Navy, is that right?
Yeah, he was a combat photographer for the Navy throughout World War II.
Wow.
And was stationed in the South Pacific and came out the other side and moved back home. His family's all originally from Medford, and he moved back, or he got out of the Navy, and he thought it would be, looking for a job to do, and said, hey, why don't I open a store in Grants Pass? You guys have Medford. I'll go over to Grants Pass, start my thing there, and got help from his uncle to do it, and took off from there. So it's pretty cool.
So your family legacy in Southern Oregon goes really deep.
Yeah. We've, in fact, I think is my great grandfather was the mayor of Medford for a while.
Wow.
So yeah, my family's been here for a bit, and
so is that in your future, mayor of Grants Pass?
No.
Come on now.
No. Yeah. I can't handle that. I got maybe when I'm retired.
Yeah.
Take on another full-time job like that. Yeah.
City council.
Yeah. They're just doing that right now. It's just, I don't ever want to do that. So.
No.
Yeah, I've been dipping my toes in. I'm actually working on there's a downtown improvement task force that I'm a part of that we just met for the first time last night.
Cool.
And
Yeah, that's cool.
That was more up my speed. It's a short term. It's like 6 months, get in, help out where you can, give some advice, and then get out and do something different. So, but yeah, it just, so much has happened here in this town, and it's really been a cool part of my job to be able to run a store here in Grants Pass, but also have that community aspect. So, giving back to the community as best I can is just as much a part of my job as kind of the day-to-day spreadsheets and management kind of things. So,
what's really cool and what I've kind of noticed over the years, and this is my first time actually really like talking to you other than
5 minutes of coffee
line. But being in real estate now I'm coming up on 7 years, like it became very clear like who the favorite furniture store is in town. And I don't even know if there is another. I mean, this is probably really bad for anybody who owns a furniture store in Grants Pass. I don't think there really is another furniture store in Grants Pass, in my opinion.
Well, I think I'll take it. I'll take the credit.
But I guess what I'm saying is, almost back to foot and mouth. What I'm saying is that you go into houses and you know what furniture is yours. I mean, you can see like the quality of the stuff, and you know what Gates sells. I mean, it's all high quality stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, for me walking into a house, I'd be like, oh, they shop at Gates, and I God's honest truth, I've done that. For probably at least 5 out of the 7 years after I kind of started to learn where people get their furniture from. So
I always get a kick too. My wife loves looking up real estate listings as they come up, as a lot of people do, and it's kind of like a hobby. It's a hobby for so many people these days, and she'll show me a picture every once in a while and be like, "Oh, that's that sofa," or "Oh yeah, we used to do those all the time." And with all the with folks that are selling their houses, it's pretty funny. So to have the legacy of helping people out, furnish their homes, making their little corner of the world more comfortable is definitely at the top of my list of what makes me feel good. And it's a great business to have taken over, and I've been working with my dad professionally since I graduated from U of O in 2009, but I've been at the store since forever, helping out, growing up doing things in the office, cleaning up, helping out at events. Throughout high school, I was on the delivery team and worked in the warehouse. So, it's definitely a part of it's a huge part of my life, and I'm very thankful for it, and super thankful for being able to work with family along the way. And
did you ever think that was going to be your path? I mean, grew up in it, so
there was a time. I mean, graduated from Grants Pass High and went to U of O the year after, and I started at the journalism school there, and I thought that was going to be what I wanted to do, and it was kind of a last minute decision. I didn't actually go to U of O knowing exactly what I was going to do, so my first semester was a little bit of everything, but ended up kind of gravitating towards the journalism school, and had a lot of fun doing that. I thought I was going to be like a photojournalist and travel and take cool pictures.
Kind of what your grandfather did, right?
Yeah. Maybe with less the combat, more of the more of the just mountains and stuff like. But yeah. I mean, it was. It's been. I mean, through growing up, photography and videography was kind of a fun thing to do. I did video productions in high school and. All the fun stuff like that, and I thought that would be great. I'll do that, and two things happened. I think it was my freshman I think it was my sophomore year. Two things happened that year. That's 2006. One, we had a guest speaker come in who was a photojournalist. He did stuff for National Geographic and Time and all the big names he's done stuff for. And at the end of his presentation, that was so cool. It opened up for questions, and somebody was asking like, well, how many days are you on the road, or like how often are you traveling or whatever? And he's like, well, I'm usually on the road 300 plus days a year.
Oh, God.
And I had just started dating my girlfriend, which is now my wife, but I just started dating Christy. And I was like, I don't think I can commit to being gone 300 days a year. So that was in the back of my head. I was like, that's probably not going to work. Well, we'll see. We can all, do something else. And then the iPhone came out, and I think one of the Time Magazine put a photo on the front cover of, I can't remember what it was, if it was some natural disaster or war or something like that, and somebody had taken a photo with their iPhone and it made the front cover of Time Magazine. I was like, I'm out of a job. There's no way
anybody's a photographer now.
Yeah, everybody's a photographer, and it really did. It really dried. I mean, it really sucked up a lot of. I mean, there's still a lot of great photographers out there doing. There's still room for professional photographers for sure, but not as many. I mean, not as many now. I mean, there's. Oh yeah, can you take a picture with your phone and send it to us? That'd be great. I mean, anyway. It was a big.
Magazines just getting flooded with submissions. It's like, look, I took this picture.
Yeah. It just wasn't the right time, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna maybe switch gears a little bit. So that's when I started figuring, you know what, I might move back and start working at the family business. I can at least do that for a little while and figure out if I want to do something different. But then the economy crashed in 2008, and I was still going to school and looking for job opportunities. In 2008, everything went upside down, and I graduated in 2009, and I was like, well, I know I can get a job at Gates. So
I don't know what it's going to be, but I know I can get a job.
So that kind of solidified things. And, working with my dad throughout all that was a huge, getting dropped into the deep end right away, learning, you had to learn budgets really quickly. And we just
similar for him too, I would imagine. I mean, that was the trying time for everybody. Right?
Yeah.
So you guys went through that together.
Yeah, we went through it together. He's super level headed about it. At least he didn't show me any, like he was, mature in his career that, he knew what he could and couldn't do. And it was something completely, life-changing and never before seen, in his lifetime, as far as as a business, even with some of the other economic disasters in the 80s and 90s and stuff. It didn't affect things the way that this did. And that was probably because it was just so rooted in the housing market. And, if people aren't buying homes, they're not buying new furniture. And it just had a crazy trickle down effect versus, other trying times. But,
speaking of that, you should probably have like a mailer program. Like anytime you see a house closed, like on Zillow or something like that, you should just like send them a note,
Yeah, we actually do have a program for that. It's funny though, is we do have a mailer program we used to do. And we found that, which is the right thing, is, they always say when you go to buy a home, which I'm preaching to the choir, is you kind of stretch yourself as far as you can to get the home that you want, because it's such a big and important investment. Right. So you want to really stretch yourself out, get the loan that you can without going crazy. So usually when someone moves into their home, they're not ready to buy any furniture because they just spent all their money securing their home. Yeah. And I always thought that was like, oh, well, someone it's a new space. They always need new furniture. Well, then that happened to us when we bought our home back about 6 or 7 years ago. We moved from our house to this one, and same thing. We own a furniture store, and we still didn't buy furniture for like a year. We just made whatever worked. Yeah. And you just get so wrapped up in a new home that sometimes it's the last thing you think about, honestly. Yeah. You're just kind of there's so many other things that make your home that are more important than furniture, which is funny coming from my mouth, I guess. But it's true. I mean, like,
You want us to edit that part out?
yeah, sure. But it's, just the nesting part, just like just feeling good in your home first. Like, you're just going to move whatever you can. And you're just so excited to be in a new space that you just kind of want inform your decision down the road.
I think furniture is a spoil. You spoil yourself. It was like us when we bought our house. We brought all the furniture from our 1,100 square foot apartment and made it work. And it's like we were in there for about a year, and it's like, okay, you know what? Yeah. We deserve this. Let's get a new couch that the cats have just torn apart.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I totally get it. And I'm not here or in this community to push furniture down people's throats. It's like, hey, we're here. We've been here. We will be here. We're here to help you when you're ready, make the right fit for you. And we're not going to come knocking on your door trying to drop stuff off without you ready for it. So anyway, yeah.
So, I mean, you guys have been doing business for so long. I mean, what do you think separates you from other furniture companies? And
that's our store it's that number one is that our sales approach is more of that of like guiding our customers. We're not
providing value.
Providing value is our biggest, and that's what we aim everything around. And my dad's always said too, he's like, we may not have the cheapest furniture, but we'll always have the best value. And even saying that is, we have sofas from $600-700 all the way up to $3,000. You can find something at every point. And our biggest focus is to make sure that at every price point, the value is there, that it's not, it's the best $700 sofa you can get, or the best $3,000 sofa, that it's not, that the value matches the price for everybody, because everybody has different tastes and different budgets. So we try to provide that for everybody. And then the second biggest thing for us is the service behind it, because it doesn't matter whether you spend a little or a lot. Furniture's made by hand. Things will break. Kids are kids, pets are pets, and we're here to help you out if something happens to your.
You guys have like a whole maintenance shop, don't you? They're bringing warranty, or is it warranty or maintenance or? Yeah,
so we have a full-fledged service department. We have a road tech. We have a service manager. But in just our service department, in just our service department, we have over 100 years of combined experience in servicing furniture. And so a lot of the times we'll get stuff in from a customer, and let's say a frame breaks somewhere on the sofa. Our guys can repair it and make it better than it was structurally. That when you got it in the first place, we full on overbuild everything so that it doesn't happen again. We don't want you to go through that. So it's really value and service for us, which sounds so generic, but more and more as things go online, when you're buying your shoes and your groceries online now, it's value and service are things that are harder and harder to find. And it doesn't matter if you're an online company or a brick and mortar store. The companies that do well focus on that. Even McDonald's focuses on value and service. Yeah. So, it's just a matter of perspective, I guess, but those are our big ones.
Yeah. What I appreciate is anytime I go in there, I can go in there without the feel of the salesman follow me around everywhere.
Oh, that's the worst.
That happens a lot in furniture stores. You got that one guy just like bulldogs you and and I never get that feel. I feel like I can go in there, walk around, take a look and leave and not feel like
we err on the side of being ghosts sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes we actually do get, complaints online, or I was in there and nobody helped me out. And I'm like, well, that's strange, but I'd rather
Did you ask?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'd rather be on that side of things than somebody's like, oh, well, yeah, somebody was just on me all the time and they were bugging me. And so we're there to help out when you need help. And we're usually very attentive without, being, on top of you all the time. But yeah, people slip through the cracks. I mean, we have a 30,000 square foot showroom. That's another big thing is people will come into our store and they won't realize how large the store actually is. So especially in a town like Grants Pass, there's not a lot of retail spaces other than a grocery store that are the size of our store. And the building used to be a grocery store, so that makes sense. But, we've got a ton in stock. We try to keep all of our best sellers always in stock. So you can shop and take home furniture the same day. You don't have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks. Even through the pandemic, we really tried keeping inventory up and up and up. And, right now, I think we have over 400 recliners in stock right now that are just available, ready to go. Wow. And lots of sofas and sectionals and everything. But that's a huge deal to have a warehouse and a large showroom so that, you can have fun shopping and then have it at home the same day if you wanted to come pick it up. So, it's a lot. There's a lot of things that folks take for granted that we try to really hone in on and stay on top of.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you seem to do a great job with it. I mean, you've been in business now for 70 years or more.
Yeah. Yes. Last year was our 75-year anniversary.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Super, super excited about it. So.
Yeah. Well, you talked about in the questionnaire, you talked about bridging your roots with the future. Like that's something that gives you a lot of pride and a lot of happiness. Talk to me about what that means.
Yeah.
Or how you're doing that at least.
So, things like quality and value and customer service, those are the things that we've always made a part of our business. But how those are implemented, is different, 70 years ago. 70 years ago, my grandfather, it was him and like 3 other people running the 4,000 square foot store, and they would sell furniture in the daytime, and then 4 o'clock would roll around and he would load up the furniture in his truck and go deliver it the same day that night. Right. And they carried their own accounts. They would, back in the 50s and 60s, Grants Pass was a big lumber town. I mean, all the way through the 80s, Grants Pass was a big lumber town. So, he would extend credit to the mill workers that had seasonal work, and it was handshake stuff and stuff like that. But, and that worked for that time period. And so, today we have things like, same day deliveries available. I'm not usually the one to deliver it that same day, but same day delivery is available, and I've got an amazing crew that can do that. We deliver all points around Southern Oregon, from Brookings to Ashland to even Roseburg every once in a while. Being able to come up with the systems and technology and efficiencies to make sure that you can still get the value that we've set forward 70 years ago, the handshake kind of feel, but operating in today's world. So we even have things like speaking about like our warranties and stuff. We have our own in-house service plan called Gates Care Shield. That I helped develop. Basically, it's a added value product that if it basically covers any service, stain, rip, burn, tear, anything that goes wrong with your furniture, we come out and take care of it for one price that you pay up front for 5 years. One price for the next 5 years, unlimited service.
Cool.
At no additional charge. So, that was something that was, more 70 years ago, we were doing things like that, but it was like a one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
So how do you do that now in today's world where our business is, 20 times the size as it was back 70 years ago? it's a lot harder for me to do handshake deals every with every customer, but we want to build those things into what we do on a day-to-day basis. So there's that, and things like we have another product that I helped work on called Gates Easy Pay. It's if you've done any shopping online where you go and they say, why don't you split this into 4 equal payments and no interest, and away you go. Well, we have our own version of that. It's it goes over 6 months, so you get to split up your sale over 6 payments at no additional charge, no financing fees, nothing like that. So, being able to take modern day
new ideas
and apply them to
kind of like a reverse layaway type thing.
Yeah. And you get to take it. I mean, you get that plus any promotion we're running too. So it's kind of a cool thing. So so taking modern approaches to shopping and making those fit with our kind of roots of customer service so that they match up and you get the full advantage of both. So.
Cool. Interesting. I just like the way you wrote that and the thing, and I was just like, oh, that's an interesting idea. So plus
lots of spreadsheets behind the scenes, just so many spreadsheets. So, but yeah, it's I know that it's crazy. There are furniture stores that I know of that still do everything on paper and inventory's all on paper and
index cards.
Seriously. Yeah. And if you want to know if something's in inventory, you have to go walk into the back and check it out. And hey, it works for them, but it doesn't work for us. So anyway, but yeah,
if you want to do a high level of business with a lot of transactions and stuff like that, I guess you got to get into the new
and it's less about like the volume of business, like number of people, because we see a modest number of people. It's not like a ton of people are coming through our doors every single day, but what we've found is to keep that high level of customer service, you have to have a high level of behind the scenes work going on, and good reporting, good information, so that you can make the right decision for the customers right away without second guessing or trying to remember what you said yesterday or last week or last month or last year. So to keep that high level customer service, we've had to really implement new systems into the business so that we can keep ourselves honest and going forward without getting too bogged down with trying to figure it all out along the way. So yeah,
cool. You got any business questions? Because I'm going to get personal here in a second.
No, go for it, man.
No.
Yeah.
Tell me about your daughter, Liv.
Oh yeah. So
she inspires you, huh?
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 6. She's in kindergarten this year. And my wife and I look at each other probably every day and go, she's a little Nick running around. Like my wife tells me, she's like, well, she gets it from you. Well, she gets it from you. Well, she gets it from you. And it's
she right?
True.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, she's 100% right. And so it's really funny. All the good things and all the quirks of my personality are definitely getting imprinted on her. But she's a bundle of energy. I mean, it's between swim and soccer, gymnastics, playing with the dog, riding bikes, riding a skateboard. I mean, she wants to do everything, and it's my biggest motivator in life right now is to do a good job at work, get things squared away so that we can have fun family time. So, yeah.
I got a little 4-year-old girl myself, and she is like just sparkle in my eye, man. She's just awesome.
Just wait till they go to school. It changes things.
Yeah.
You realize you're like, you put her out into the world and they start making decisions completely separate of your input, and not for a bad thing, but it's just like, whoa.
Yeah. My 4-year-old boy's starting to do that. It's like he's just making his own decisions and just going on with things. It's like you're growing up way too fast though, man.
Yeah. It's crazy because you definitely when they're at home, when they're not at school or something, you kind of are in charge of the flow of information.
Sure.
So So the things that they spit out to you every once in a while, it's oh, where'd that come from? Oh, that's funny. But for the most part, you kind of know what's going on. But then they go to school and their brains just start firing off on all cylinders, and they're coming up with their own things, their own personality, and
terrific.
It's yeah.
I don't think I could do any more personality.
Let's go back to business, huh?
Yeah, it's great. It's super cool to see, and I'm super excited to see what kind of person she turns into. And so I know too, a lot of folks have been so worried these last couple of years with what's been going on, and I'm still just very much in the camp of Liv will probably not even remember anything that just happened in the last couple of years. So she's just trucking like nothing's wrong with the world, and it's really
That's the way it should be for them.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to see, because we as parents, I know we put a lot of, we might carry a lot of, I carry a lot of anxiety for stuff like that, and it's definitely a anxiety ridden last couple of years, but sure. It's good to be on the other side of that and to see that most kids have been unaffected. They're just excited to be out in the world and having fun. So yeah,
that's the way it should be. I wish it was like that for everybody. They could just operate. I need to stop touching this mic. Every time I talk, I start grabbing the mic.
That's okay.
We've been talking about that for weeks. No, yeah, my daughter won't know anything. I got a little 2-year-old boy who was born right at the start of the pandemic, and it's just, they'll never know.
Yeah.
They're going to read about it in the books one day. They're not going to know. So, yeah, no, I just think that's really cool. Speaking of the pandemic, you talked, and I'm going back to business here, but I just, you talked about one of your most rewarding moments was opening back up and not having to lay anybody off.
Oh yeah.
And your employees actually wanted to come back to work, and you haven't had any issues with that, which is pretty unusual right now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're always looking for people. The thing was, when we had to close the doors, for the first time ever, I mean, we never had to do anything like that. So in the history of the furniture store and the history of a lot of people's businesses, what happened in 2020 is unprecedented, to say the least.
Right.
So when we closed our doors, my job became completely different, and it was all about, how do I, as a business owner, provide for the 30 people that were reliant on our business, for their livelihood. How do I take care of them? And so we, phone call after phone call, figuring out how to pay everybody in a consistent way, to make sure that they all knew and felt that they were appreciated and that they had a job to come back to, that we weren't going to, just fade away. That was my sole purpose for 2 months. And then even after we opened back up. So when we got to open up back in May, and it was kind of at the end point of taking care of everybody, we had paid everybody's wage throughout the whole period that they were laid off, and then continued, even though we had no idea what business was going to be like when we opened back up. Made commitments to continue their pay, especially like my sales team, which their pay is so dependent on the overall sales of the store. So that was a whole new arena for them. And but we took care of everybody. And so when we opened back up, it was a really good feeling to know that we were going to be okay, especially with the community showing up and supporting us when we opened back up. Everybody was ready to, there was a lot of things they were unsure of, but they knew that they were going to spend some time at home. So it seemed like everybody in the Valley was trying to upgrade their house a little bit. So for us in our industry, super thankful that the effect that the pandemic had on our business was a overwhelming positive in the face of such an overwhelmingly negative situation.
Right. Yeah, very well put.
And so people, so business was great. Business continues to do well, and we're stable, feeling kind of like back to normal a little bit now. But people have asked before, have you been busy? Yes. Would you do it again? Would you do it again? And I say, sure. If it was, no, I would rather if things just been kind of normal. Before the pandemic, our business had been growing just incrementally, just enough to where it was manageable and sustainable and felt good. Nobody was burnt out, and it was going in the right direction. And so then we exploded after we opened back up, which is great, but I wouldn't want to go through that again. I would rather be where we were before the pandemic, consistency and small growth. And
it's the same thing for us in the real estate business.
Sure.
I mean, coming out of that, right when I'm going to touch again because it's not in my face. But right when we came out of the pandemic, or not when we started the pandemic, like nobody was doing anything. Like the first 3 weeks, most everybody was like, all right, well, we're just going to check out and see what's going on here. And then people started to like we need to get back to our life here. And then the end of 2020 and the 2021 real estate market was insane.
Yeah.
Like stupid insane. Obviously because of interest rates. I mean, all kinds of factors. But
lots of factors. Yeah.
But it was insane. It was hard to keep up with, and it was great for business, but I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. So I'm with you.
Yeah, great for business, but it was a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All the gray hair I have now is probably from these last 2 years for sure. It's there. You don't have to look that hard. It's there. I'm wearing these headphones, but trust me, it's there. And
you're what? You're my age. If you graduated college 2009, you're what? 35.
I'm
probably?
35. Yeah.
Born in 86. Yeah. Me too.
There you go. Perfect.
We won't ask Michael.
Yeah, don't ask me. I'm a little bit older.
Michael's 35 at heart.
Yeah, right, there you go. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I haven't been 35 in a lot of years.
A lot of years. Yeah, that's fun. Well, that's cool. It's really, I don't think anybody wants to go through that again, even if they benefited from it financially and all that. So that was really
I'm sure
hard.
there's people that say, yeah, bring it on. Let's do it again. But those people are crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking with Mike Amaranthus this morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to try and get him on the podcast next week. But I told him we were talking to you today. And he says hi.
Hi.
Yeah. And,
hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. And the other thing he said is that he had a lot of respect for you and that he says you're quite the philanthropist, which means that you care about people and you give back. And
that's great coming from him. I mean, I would say the same thing times 100 to him. I was like, that's very kind words, Mike. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I owe you a glass of wine.
A glass of wine.
For saying that.
That's cool.
But it's like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it was part of my job, I feel, is giving back to the community. I mean, I have such a great team down at the store that the day-to-day stuff they take care of, and we are all of like mind. Like they know they are all empowered to make the decisions that I would make, especially when it comes to customer service. Sometimes I get, like, if it's a weird situation, I'll get a call, but usually they'll call me with, hey, well, this is what I was thinking, but I just want to run it by you. And 99% of the time I'm like, yeah, that sounds great.
That's great.
Thanks. Let's do it. So they have been such a huge part of our growth. They are a huge part of what makes Gates. Even though they may not have the same last name, they are our family, and they are what is going to take our company to the next, for the next 75 years.
Yeah.
And so with them at the helm of the day-to-day stuff, I get the opportunity to try and be a good philanthropist. My dad's a huge example. Mike's a great example too. And I look up to both of them a ton. And it was, needless to say, I think both my dad and Mike's a great example too. They built those parts into their businesses too. That we're not on an island, you know, in our business. It might feel like that, but we're also connected to this community, and our community is connected to, you know, the greater world around us. But you know, it's a great opportunity to be able to give back to this community, because like I said, this last couple of years have been huge proof and understanding that our community is here to support us in the same way. So it's a two-way street, and be remiss to not be looking out for the folks not to look out for the folks that are looking out for us. So.
Right. So I mean, I know why Mike says that, a philanthropist, because it's pretty clear that you have a lot of humility and you care about people and the community, which is, I just think it's pretty cool. It's the whole reason why we do this podcast. You know, you said most inspiring people. I mean, people may not know it, but I mean, you're a great leader for that, you know, and that's cool. And that's what we're trying to highlight.
Cool. Yeah.
Here with the podcast. So I just appreciate you doing that and being here for that. So
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And I think you got some deep lineage through your dad. I mean, I'm very familiar with your dad and dealt with him in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I was a service writer at Lithia, and he came in with his blue Dodge Caravan all the time. And but he was just the most humble and just level-headed person. And I remember doing events at the furniture store with the Boys and Girls Club. We did casino night and stuff like that. And it was always great. Your dad was always involved in the community, and him and Brady Adams always stood out, you know, in the early days, you know, trying to rebuild back the town, make it better.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. It's kind of all coming full circle again. It's just one of those timing things. But yeah, there's a lot going on in our town. So, my focus lately has been, you know, we try to give back to the community, you know, monetarily and through sponsorships and stuff like that. But, part of my time now, for the next few months is going to be, helping, the city, with, the city's looking at, redoing doing a lot of upgrades to the historical district, the downtown historical district. So I threw my hat in the ring to help out on one of the committees that are going to do some background research and stuff. But super excited to see downtown get revitalized. It's already a vibrant place. Yeah. But I'm really excited that the city has decided to double down on that and you know, clean up a little bit, plant some more trees, or we need some trees, but you know, do some bigger projects too. So as much as I can get involved with Grants Pass's downtown, that's kind of been a big passion of mine for lately. So
it sounds like you'd be a great person for that too, because you kind of have a little bit of an artistic side of you as well, don't you? A
little bit, yeah. It's I'm much more creative than analytical. That's definitely for sure. And so it's good to be able to stretch the brain that way. And so far, the team that I've met with, it's going to be a great group of people. It's great spread of folks and backgrounds, so hopefully downtown's going to start changing a little bit, but only for the better.
Yeah. It seems like it's changed quite a bit ever since Dutch moved into the old Washington Federal Building. Yeah. You know, just a lot more commerce and stuff happening down there. You got some really cool stores like House of Glory and you know, I don't know if you know if you've met Manny, but that's just a cool spot, and people like, you know, have some really cool stores in there now, which is pretty neat. Yeah, and it's good timing too, with everything been open back up for a while, and you know, people, there's such a one of the biggest things, one of the greatest, I don't know the greatest, but one of the big things that the pandemic showed everybody was like, your community, you are so reliant on your community, whether you knew it or not. And so, you know, being stuck at home or, you know, whatever, really, I think changed a lot of people's outlook on this town, the city, and going, oh, Grants Pass is actually kind of a cool spot. When it's hard to get on an airplane to go other places, and you got to spend your free time here. Hey, this is actually kind of cool. And I've always believed that. But there's definitely a groundswell of others that are just like,
oh, this is kind of a great place. So it's good timing to kind of see our downtown grow a bit, and hopefully we just make it better and better.
And I think a good example of that is doing this podcast. We've had House of Glory on, we've had Wheelhouse Coffee on, we've had Steam Distillery, Weekend Brewery, all people that have done either opened up during the pandemic or did a major change, and testament to how strong our community is by the support that they've all received, and then just flourished.
Yeah.
At a time where you think, why are you opening up a new business right now?
Yeah, it's tough, but they've all the big thing, the common denominator for all of those is that they are community minded. I haven't been to Steam Distillery yet, but I know Terry pretty well.
Yeah.
Actually, Terry's on that committee with me, so it's good to sit across the table with him.
Yeah, good guy.
And so it's the big thing that they have in common is that they're all community minded. They're all forward facing. They're not just setting up a business.
Not a B2B.
It's they are there for people, and it's I'm sure I will get down to Steam Distillery at some point, but I'm sure as soon as you walk in, it's very apparent.
We got some vodka up there if you want some.
There you go.
We can break it open.
There you go.
It's almost quitting time.
Yeah. There you go.
Only if you want, Nick. I was just, no, but you need to go to Steam, guys.
I know, we will. We'll do it.
We got a drink special on there. Does it end today?
It ends today. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Those guys are pretty cool. Terry, unfortunately lost a kid to cancer, which is just devastating. I'm going to start crying just thinking about it. But it's, he has a program through Grants Pass Kiwanis called Caden's Kids. And so he did a specialty cocktail for us. And then they did $1 for every drink that they sold went to Caden's Kids, which is pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're glad to help out with that. And we had like a YPN event down there, and that was the drink special. So we tried to and so people were just buying the hometown mule all night. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome
to kind of help them out with that. I love the community stuff. It's the best. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
And it's cool that you can just you can go. In our town, it's small enough to where you can walk in the door and talk to whoever is in charge. I mean, you can talk to the people in charge there, or you can strike up those relationships like that. It's not like,
let me talk with my manager.
Yeah. You can go in, you can set up something like, hey, let's do a featured drink where we, you can, it can all be, settled, figured out. And
it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah. 10 minutes. It's not, it's super cool. And
everybody's happy to do it.
Yeah. That happens all the time. Down at the furniture store, albeit I am sometimes a hard guy to grab down there, but we've forged some amazing partnerships with community organizations by folks just walking in the door. And
I've been trying to get you on the podcast for almost a month now.
I know.
2 months.
I know. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I could have come last week, but I wouldn't have been able to talk. That cold was nasty, but
it's all good. Yeah. No, it's all good. We all have.
I got the radio voice now. It's a little raspy. It's good. Yeah.
Perfect.
We're all doing this on like our free time, like whenever we have a chance. So I get it. So it's all good. I mean, that was one of the things that Manny talked about when he came here from Miami, which is such a huge place.
Yeah.
And it was, him and his wife started crying because it was just, they didn't realize what kind of support this community will give you.
Yeah.
If you give back to it, and it was just really kind of eye opening for them, and they knew they made the right decision.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're a great fit downtown, and super exciting to work with them. We around Christmas we went in. That's when they opened. They opened like November, December, right for the holidays, and strategically. Well,
they were hoping it was going to be slow.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think he was hoping it, and just brief conversation with him and his wife, and he's like, yeah, we thought it was going to be slow, and we're just amazed, and it's just cool to see stuff like that. So
it's a cool community. Yeah,
it's great. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Where's your favorite place to eat downtown?
Oh yeah. You asked me that earlier. We go to the Hall quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think they have the best pizza in town.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah, and I'm very partial to Marv and the Pour Authority too, but it's two different kinds of pizza.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's days where I'm in a Pour Authority pizza kind of mood, and then there's days where I'm in the Hall kind of mood. But yeah.
They have a great menu at the Hall. They do just different stuff. I love their tacos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which aren't on the menu anymore, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Went in there about a week ago.
Uh-oh.
They're not on the menu anymore.
I'm pissed off.
They're dead to you now.
They're not dead to me. I'll still go in there.
Yeah.
No.
No, their tacos were the best.
Yeah. Well, maybe they can watch the podcast and figure out they need to bring it back on the menu.
There you go. Yeah. From the mouths of babes? No, that doesn't make
That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. You gotta get the kids on here. You have to get
There
the
you
kids
go.
on the podcast to say we want tacos back.
There you go.
And
There's a
then-
big chanting.
Yeah.
We'll get that recorded.
Yeah, probably could. For sure. So, what business stands out to you in Grants Pass? We've talked about this a little bit already. Well, not this particular business, but why they stand out to you.
Oh yeah. I have a huge amount of respect for the things that Evergreen does. I've kind of grown. I kind of grew up business wise, kind of like in their prime time of just a lot of, I think, all the stuff that they did with like the Bear Hotel and the Bear Fest and concerts in the park and all this stuff. And you were asking about it before the podcast, and I was like trying to think of. I mean, there's so many good businesses, but Evergreen Bank is a bank, and they're doing all this cool, fun art stuff and giving back. Like, they could just do the bank thing. There's plenty of banks in our community that just do the bank thing, and that's great. That's what you would come to expect, but they go above and beyond in helping out our community and being an active part in forming our community. Yeah. And so
they're not just donating time. Donating money. I mean, they're donating time, and I mean, they put a lot into it. Yeah.
All the stuff they do for the community, they don't have to do it, but Brady set up such a huge example to showing that you can be more than what you might seem at face value. Just like we're a furniture store, we don't have to like be necessarily involved with what's going on downtown or donating our time and effort to charities or organizations like that. But if I can guide our business to be a fraction of what companies like Evergreen does, then I think we're on the right track.
And back to like what you said, your handshake agreements. I have heard numerous stories when Brady was still around about, small businesses just need a loan, and, Brady is going, yeah, no problem, you know, and it's like, just it was kind of a handshake agreement. There was nothing more to it. Obviously some paperwork, but you know what I mean? But it was like, it wasn't hard to go in there. You weren't fighting, a B of A or US Bank, and, all these underwriters and stuff, if he knew a little bit about you and knew your business and knew you were good for it, you were going to get the loan, so, and the stuff that he wanted to do back then, with the Riverwalk and stuff like that. And your dad was probably one of the first ones to jump on with your guys' big store remodel and stuff like that to, show what it could be, was huge.
Yeah. So it's, there's lots of other, great companies here in this town too, that I've taken ideas from or inspiration from. I have really good friends like Lisa and Dale Woodruff own Logan Designed, and Lisa is a silent hero in our community too, of just donating so much of her time and energy to helping women in this community, and other charities like they're through Zonta. They do so much, and they're amazing people, and it's cool to see. So behind most of the storefronts that you find in our town, there's somebody. I'm not the most unique. There's somebody doing something to give back to our community, whether it's like Dale and Lisa or the Floreses or
So,
Brad's a good guy too. Brad gives a ton of time back. Brad Converse.
Oh,
you should
yeah.
get him on the podcast too.
We have talked about having Brad on here. He's an interesting dude.
Yeah. He's probably one of the sharpest guys I know. It's my age. It's crazy. He is uber smart and he just carries so much information in his head at all times that he can answer any situation. Anyway. Yeah. Sorry.
It's a good call.
He's on our list.
He's on the list.
Yeah.
So he's definitely an interesting guy. He does a lot. He's got a cool business that does a lot of international stuff and stuff around the world. So
it's crazy, because most of his business isn't. He has a business. What's really crazy, what's cool to talk to him about is his choice to have his business here and have his shop downtown, and be a part of the downtown community, when most of his business, and he'll say 98% of his business is outside of not just this county but this state. It's crazy. So he's probably more all in to helping this community grow and change than I am. He's on the YMCA board. He's on Parks Committee board. He's super involved, and he's got the wavelength to do it. But it'd be a good conversation to have.
Yeah, but no, there's definitely no doubt there are some pretty amazing people in this community. That's why we do this, is to help showcase some of that.
Yeah.
But as we're wrapping up, where do you see? Where would you like Gates to get to in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, my dad taught me something a long time ago. He's retired. He'll say he's retired. But anytime he's not on vacation or traveling,
He's in the shop.
He's down at the store.
Yeah.
And he gets to do all the things that he wants to do. We're not reliant on him for any of the day-to-day stuff. So when he comes to work, he gets to do the stuff that he really enjoys.
Test out the mattresses and all that kind of stuff.
He just loves. He loves setting up the showroom. He loves moving furniture around and getting things looking the way that he sees in his head, and working with product and working in the warehouse and making sure everything's nice and clean and set up. But he taught me something. He taught me something a long time ago. In his 40 plus years in the business, he'd had opportunities to, buy out other businesses or buy other properties and put stores different places and stuff. But he felt that the best thing for him, his family, and his community is to have one focused point, and that's why we just have one location these days. So I totally agree. We could be out there, hustling 110%, and trying to open up stores or, make it bigger or do all these different things. But there's a lot of freedom in really honing in and getting really good at our one location, our one business, and having the time to pour back into the community and stuff. So I, in the next 5 to 10 years, I see us doing the same thing and just, helping folks out. We're always trying to grow business. We're always trying to, provide value and great customer service to our customers. But not only that, but provide value to our employees and giving them a great place to work. So I definitely would never want to push them any more than we've had to push them these last 2 years.
And he's had some long-term employees.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
I know a few of them that have been there a long time.
My warehouse manager, Jerry, I think this year is his 36th year with us.
Wow.
And his wife, Terry, actually works for us too. And I think she's been there for 35 years. So,
wow.
So just in those two, they're such amazing people, and we love having them. But yeah, these last couple of years through the pandemic, we've asked a lot from our employees. So for the next couple of years, at least, we're just like, let's get back to normal,
Just chill.
and let's just chill and
Let the water settle.
Yeah. And, then from there, honestly, I don't know, there's probably some business book that says you need to map out your business plan for X amount of years. And I don't know. I think a lot of that's gone out the window after these last couple of years. It's like, let's just plan out the next year, see how that goes, see if we need to change anything. And that's been a huge benefit to our company is I've kept that mentality of knowing things could change. I mean, professionally, I've been through the housing and economy collapse of 2008. I've been through what COVID did to business and shutting our doors for 2 months. And I've seen a lot of crazy things happen, and I'm definitely of the mindset of staying tight and nimble so that if you have to close your doors because of another pandemic or whatever, or, if there's a forest fire or something that, takes out half of our community, half of our homes, or who knows, anything could happen, and you need to be able to be ready for that. And knock on wood, knock on all the wood, knock on all the trees. That was just a poor example, I think.
That's okay, man.
But even the small things, it's just being able to, if one of my managers comes to me and says, "Hey, I think it'd be cool to try XYZ," having a company that you can go, "Hey, let's try it." Mm-hmm. We can do that for X amount of time and see how that works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll just shift back, So, I think that's a huge thing for any business, is you have some big goals. That's great. But, I think it's much more valuable to be flexible than to be flexible with your plans than to have a 10-year plan all notched out.
Yeah.
But that's probably just me. But
no, I like it.
I think it's wise in our current time.
Yeah, I think it fit. I mean, there was a time where it was, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, your business is going to grow no matter what. It's just how it is. I mean, my dad was telling me there was a point, I think like a 20-year period where it didn't matter what he did. The business would grow a bit every year. You could just rely on it. But with the internet changed everything. The way people shop now has changed everything. Everything's different than 30 years ago for sure. Yeah. So,
and he's remained nimble.
Yeah. And he had, and that was his big thing too, is he's done so many different things. He's done so many different things. And I think inadvertently that's kind of been impressed on me, kind of watching how, he did business over the years. Is it just stay nimble, stay strong, and try new things, see if it works. If it doesn't work, go back. Yeah. If it does work, keep going. It's pretty simple. So anyway,
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good note to end on.
I think that's a good note. I think that was some wise words to end on.
Man,
ask me again in 20 years, right?
Ask me again. I think you'll be nimble enough to answer that question.
Hopefully. So stay nimble.
Yeah. Nick be nimble, Nick be quick.
Yeah, there we go.
Mike, hit that button. Let's go.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Hometown Hustle Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. And for more information or to connect with Daniel and Michael, check out www.hometownhustlepodcast.com. We'll see you next time.